Welcome back. So we're gonna go ahead and do some more Shaligrams. This one's pretty cool. Anyone who's not aware, these are not fossils, but are caused by current flows etching their surface of the rock, flowing through the rock, and creating really interesting and unique features. They're considered Ammonites, but they're not fossils. They're not fossils. They're basically a pseudo-fossil, something that appears to be a fossil. It has been categorized as a fossil, but it's not actually a fossil. So we're going to start with this one. This is from Mangulum Jewelry on Etsy. Really cool. It's got a tiny, pool from the top side. So essentially, I've interpreted there to be a current flow that even moves the actual particles and shapes the rock and makes the rock. The flow is of water, but it moves the actual grains within the shale and pyrite and quartz and other materials that are found in Shaligrams, and it differentiates them. So like there's a lot of pyrite in the ammonite structure, more so than over here in this one. But what tends to happen is it forms a top side and a bottom side. And the top side physically drains through the chakra system. So let's go over the chakras, and it feeds from the top side through down into the bottom, and then up and around and back to the top, and cycles. And in this one, it's really tiny, which is interesting. Like, it's not gone, but it's tiny. So one of the first anomalies I noticed immediately when looking at this that really distinguish it's not a fossil. So like the shell, clearly, if this is a fossil, the shell continues like to this distance around it, but over here, like, it also continues seemingly over this way. But down here, this one doesn't really have it very well. There's what I call teeth. So we can find some teeth in another one. Let's find some teeth real quick. Like these structures that then occur over here a bit. They're not really visible there, but they are visible here in the way this bends, the way this is. Like this looks, as someone who's looked at many Shaligrams, this looks like teeth. It's kind of limited in its overall amount. Like, it's got one here and one down here in terms of the bend, but it's there. It's etched through the stone. Like, it's definitely cuts through the stone, possibly entering, like, connecting into this chamber. I'm not sure, but chamber being formed in an eddy that then spirals horizontally with the structure, but then the eddy itself causes current flows that reach the center and then flow out underneath the eddy, which then etch these pardon me, these ridges in the eddy shape. Okay, it's still going, sorry. This one's got a corkscrew type shape in there, and like a spray, which tends to produce like a spraying pattern away from them. So if we go here to Shaligram Group's corkscrew. So like this kind of structure that produces like a spray, usually like this. Is how I view what's happening. Like it's inducing a structure that is like a spray. It's probably more so spraying the water material, and then the water is creating like repetitive patterns that look like a spray in the matrix material. Okay, so, and that's kind of cool how the chakra really has like a tiny nub at the top. Going back here, and notice it's connected. It doesn't actually go all the way around. It's connected through here to the matrix of the overall rock. I don't know what to make of that exactly, except for to note it. Maybe before we move on here, something else of note I see here. Dear Lord, my throat. Is this is rounded, as Ammonites tend to be, but over here it kind of reaches more like a elevated segment over here. Like all this is above the Ammonite structure, this portion, and yet it has this, one of these rib type structures on the exterior of the Ammonite that is part of it, and then it also looks like it has another sort of forming here that's generally this rib is in line with this one. This rib is generally in line with where that's forming. Also, like the Ammonite itself is eroded more here and here than it is elsewhere. Maybe also eroded there, but immediately when it reaches this mass on the outside of the Ammonite, there's this erosion, almost like a current is flowing. So essentially how I interpret it, maybe another one would be better to look at. Yeah, that's more standard looking. Like say, it doesn't really matter. Like say this. Is the current is physically flowing along the upper portion of this boundary here, and then underneath a mass that it's flowing around and etching these ribs into this and making the teeth structures, and then wrapping around and connecting back and going in and physically flowing in like a eddy shape. In like a figure eight shape though, within the eddy, where it's creating the actual shape. So it's doing that, and it's flowing out over here underneath this, flowing out of this portion from in here and out along the top of what became the Ammonite shell, and then it reaches over here, going down these channels, literally forming channels where it flows between, like it's not flowing along this rib so much as it is in the channel, but it flows along this rib in this channel, but it hits this mass that I guess it didn't go under very well. It kind of like stalled the flow, but the flow kept going, so it basically starts to etch into this rib on specifically the right side, not on this side of the rib, etching into it, creating those erosional features. Not sure why this would happen, except for just it's anomalous, and only would happen in a current setting, current flow, etching into the rock kind of manner rather than by a true fossilization process. Before I move on, I also noticed there's some things going down here. I don't know what to make of it at a glance. Also over here, nothing popping in my head. I got lots of Shaligrams, so let's just keep going. There might be some lines going that way here. It's hard to say if it's in the photo or if it's in the Shaligram itself. This one doesn't really show it very well. We can definitely see some lines there. Has too much glare or something, like it looks too smooth. Interestingly, it's less smooth up here. Okay, let's see what else we got. Oy vey. Isn't it ironic, don't you think? So these here, these two relatively parallel lines look like they're kind of generally centered. So if we go back to here again, go here, cracks. It's reminiscent of how the eddies, which are flowing generally in a figure eight, but they're also flowing in the opposite direction, where they're colliding and passing one another, passing and colliding. And they're most likely to collide at the distant point, where they then essentially create an offshoot current that goes this way at this point, as well as at the top side, at the very top of the lobe structure, and at the bottom, and at 1/3, 2/3. I talk about this all the time and relate it to other Shaligrams. It looks like that's kind of going on here with those features, with those two lines, like exit points for the current, and even the rock itself. It seems to have like broken here, like there was a current flowing out there in this area, in this one, that was then flowing into the matrix surrounding it, that essentially severed the matrix enough to break off this piece here. Like whatever extent of the matrix actually was there, that was maybe more like this, like continued up that way to a degree, possibly even much further. It's hard to say. Another side of it where it's just not shaped, it looks much more like this here than it looks like this, even though it's obviously still part of the Ammonite. But we can still see like a subtle rib there. It just didn't shape it, probably because there wasn't material. So like the current flowed physically here, kind of like touched the surface enough to shape it, but over here it looks like it physically went above the surface enough to not really etch into the surface and create this shape. Probably because it looks a little flatter, like this segment over here, especially here we can see it's flatter looking. It's not rounded. It looks much more flat until it comes over here, and then it's got enough matrix material to be shaped like that. So then it becomes more cohesive and smooth because it's got a current etching it in like a sandpaper kind of manner that's shaping it. Lots of little teeth down here. That's interesting. Maybe it was flowing out here. I don't know what to make of that, particularly maybe one underneath it. I don't see... It looks like there's some pores. It's hard to say. This is a little too blurry as I zoom in to really see. It makes me think of dendrites that can happen sometimes. I think we'll see one soon. Fairly certain we'll see one soon, possibly in this video. I don't want to scroll too far ahead. We'll come across it, and it's basically dendrites, like may or may not be subtly forming across that, but out of position in a way that don't make any sense. Like they're like up here, or like the Shaligram, the Ammonite is down like here, but then it has a crack off the top that goes back and over, and there in that region is a dendritic structure that kind of looks like this. Essentially, that's what's happening, but in that one, it really shows that because of the connection between them, that it's from the same system, and it is out of place, so it's not like the Ammonite shell being fossilized doing that. The only thing that can do that is currents. Something going on there. Okay, that's good. Here's the video, I guess. Just kind of curious what's going on there. I don't think there was another picture of it. Hard to say, it's a little blurry. That is where this mass is. So that current, maybe the current went down this way, went under this and around, under this mass as well, but didn't remove the mass and hit it as well and caused that erosion along the rib. So it's still shaping over here, but like it almost looks like it went along into this. Sorry that I'm doing it over top of this where it has play, like when I put it too close to the center, into this, and then wraps around this way to erode like a structure there. Kind of looks like to me. Okay, this is also from Mangulum Jewelry. Pretty cool. So we see the ribs, the teeth structures around it generally, and then they continue over here in like a incomplete way where they go up and they're not really angled at one another because it's going up. Skipping. Almost like it's forming a hole, like every so often. Like at the far end, not in this case necessarily, but every so often, and spaced apart, and then elongating that hole. But because the current is physically flowing around a structure that it's turning into a shell, like something like this, it's only able to go out in a general line relative to the structure that it's etching within the stone. So it can't like exit here as easily, so it like exits here and here, but then it starts to like exit nearby, like over here, and here, and creates like a strip, but then they're spaced from one another so that it doesn't etch between them, kind of thing. That almost looks like a chakra, like those lines. I'm curious what else we see there. Hard to say. I mean, I have seen these features look a lot like chakras at times, to the point where they behave like chakras sometimes, and like have an ammonite system seemingly forming around them. But it's hard to say there if there's any like rib type things going on over there. Another little lobe type thing going on. Some more out of line, like it's not in line. And then there's also this, but then there's teeth over there. That doesn't make sense. Maybe teeth there, some teeth down there. Like this generally is part of a single structure, but here, like we even see this structure like goes down towards it here, and then it's over here, and then we see like a little channel type thing connecting from here back up here, which wouldn't happen in shells. It just wouldn't happen in fossilization. I mean, this as well. Some other features. This one I talked about in the physics of a Shaligram episode, like 372, I think. Which is right here. Sooner or later, I'll talk about this one again. I got it like a couple weeks ago, and I've looked at it a lot. But see my physics of a Shaligram, because I spent like 2 hours talking about this one. It's kind of maybe a little slow going for like a half hour, but by hour 2, I really made some leaps and bounds as a result of this Shaligram. Also, once I got it, I noticed this over here is a little off. Like, it looks a little weird. Like, I wonder what's going on under the matrix there, but I've thought about it and haven't actually considered doing it, but thought about the like potential of removing the material just to see underneath there, but I have no interest in doing that. But like this almost makes me want to see like X-ray vision into the rock to see what this chakra structure looks like more clearly. I'm sure when seen it looks more normal. Also, this nucleus structure has like a tail that goes down along the back, though. It's like here, down here, but it doesn't, it's not the whole distance. It's only like the bottom half. I was thinking about getting a camera, like one of those tiny ones for like going down a tube and looking in the sewer or something, down a drain, to like look in this Shaligram and at others, but it was hard to find one that actually looked viable because they needed a certain distance for the lens, the camera to focus. That was kind of far. It was like 3 centimeters or something far enough that if I tried to put a camera like in here, like physically in here to look at that feature, it wouldn't really. I think it's that side. I don't think that's it there. Yeah, it's from, I can see it from this side. I don't know if I could get a good view of it. They're pretty cheap, like $20 to get one, so I was thinking about it, but also they tend to be like iPhone connected, but not computer, like USB one for some reason. A little disappointed in that. But let's just pass this one because I already talked about it in depth. I don't want to. As epic as this one is, it really is incredible. This was one of the most incredible Shaligrams I've come across. I already talked about it. Play the video, sure, why not? La da da. How's everyone doing today? I think I'm going bald. I'm a little afraid. I'm like, oh shit. I think I have like male pattern baldness. It's not really noticeable yet, but I think it's happening. Like, oh shit. You know, I've had so much hair all my life. I didn't think that was even possible. I was like, there's no way. When I was growing up, I was like, good thing I don't have to worry about that. Now I'm like, maybe if I start taking care of myself, maybe like drinking more water, stop smoking. I'm like, what are these things doing to my hair? Maybe it's time to like get my shit together. Because of the like, not because my health is in decay, but because I need to look like my health is not in decay. It's so weird. Humans. I know I'm not alone in that, so I can say humans and not just be like, that's only you, dude. We're about inner self, nothing about appearance. Are you sure? Our society's so focused on appearance. Okay, so anyway, before I tell you my deepest secrets, yesterday I was... Okay, we got these ribs here, but then we got these ribs here. What the... That's a little odd. I hope we get a better angle of it. Pretty typical overall. I'm not sure if there was anything particular that really stood out, at least in those first images, besides that bag. Like, what is going on there? Clearly this is not this down here, but there's still, like, teeth. Why are there teeth wrapping around this stone, like these teeth? As if there's another ammonite involved in the stone's shape. It doesn't really make sense, like the two shells cannot occupy the same space. Which I find all the time, two shells occupying the same space because currents can occupy the same space. Shells cannot. That's pretty cool there. It looks like it was eroding like across this way too, as well as underneath it, but this material didn't get removed. And this here, it looks kind of like a heartbeat almost, rather than like a more like this, I guess. Wave-like. More repetitive. It looks like it's got a little stagger over, and I don't know. Also, this boundary here has a little trailing, probably a current that was coming out here into the surrounding pressures, because this is under high pressure currents of water. So like when anything exits this rock as it's forming, it doesn't just freely flow into the environment. It runs into resistance of pressure of surrounding water that's under pressure itself, that's pushing into it, so it's holding the water. So when it comes out here, it looks like it trails along the boundary of the rock. Also, we see some stuff going this way. It looks like maybe wrapping around there in terms of surface currents. Another little trail there for some reason. Some stuff going off that way. Let's go back a little. Can't really see in there. Okay. I mean, that's just crazy. Okay. So, where are we on the stone? We must be looking at this when... No, right? That's not it. That's gotta be over here. Down this way. This looks like it drained, like it was wrapping around, but it went down also, and like basically pushed into the rock. Like it was more like this, but it had a downward flowing current pushing into it that then chipped it off. These two segments, and maybe another segment there that had like a main conduit of the current going out there that then goes over this way and connects over here, as well as going this way, I guess, dividing. Where is that? So I guess that, where it connects, is what then is this over here. Where's that one? This here continues over around here, and even has teeth like within this structure, which only currents can do again. Like, this isn't because of fossilization. And then it looks like it might have been forming an eddy here, although if we look at this, like this point up, follow this line over here, follow this line over here, it's generally pointing at where, at this segment, so it's almost like this current went out of the rock here, and again, into pressure, across this way, where then it re-entered the rock in patterns in these channels. That looks like more channels are over here, so it even divided within under this segment of the rock. Entered the rock, went under it, divided somewhat, like the Ammonite structures can do, where they branch, and created outlet points over here, but in a way where it like points back at that segment. And then there's this thing going on, almost like it's dividing it, like a yin-yang divide. This thing, this thing. This looks like it also maybe relates to that feature there. I realized, like, when I watch my videos, I'm lying in bed sometimes, I'm like, I can't really see. Could you zoom in? I hope I zoom in soon. Sometimes I don't zoom in enough. I can see it very well sitting here, like, inches from a monitor, but people not so close or on smaller screens would probably benefit from me zooming more. This maybe relates to over there. Probably does, but I don't know if it points at it. It might point at the very boundary. So like some other current essentially ran into these currents flowing through the rock and then ran into it enough that it created like an eddy here. Went into the rock and started to etch there in that location. Divided around this piece, some teeth there, and then it's got a chakra. It's creating an ammonite structure here with a lobe that's elongated along this current path. And a chakra that seems to be, because like there's multiple currents here, there's one this way that's maybe coming from this side over this way and interacting with a current going this way and then going out here, but not before producing what would try to become an ammonite structure where it created chakras, but it just wasn't like pristine, or the conditions weren't present to really make an ammonite, so instead this is the end result of all of the interactions. Okay, so that's that one. This one's pretty incredible. Shaligrams are just incredible. It is what it is. Also, I saw some Chinese scholar rocks, they're called. It's a little hard to say what to make about them. I'm probably going to do a video in the near future about those. Share my pictures and anything I could find online, which I found some pretty good ones. Although it's definitely better in person, and some of my pictures are incredible. Like, essentially I'm finding things like this in these scholar rocks. So I'm like, okay, currents are involved here, obviously. Like, I can confidently say there's a current flow involved here. Whether or not it was the global flood, which is what this high pressure current flow that shaped Shaligrams was, I don't know. Honestly, I don't think so, because, at least not entirely, because people still make them. Like, they'll drill into the stones and put them in this lake, and then that will, over like decades, become more beautified and natural looking than a drill hole, and then sell them like that, or just keep them like that. But so we see some current paths there. There's Ammonite. Let's see what else we got in this one. Lots of like anomalies, lots of different colors here. Like the material got differentiated. This going on down here doesn't really match quite well with this as like a feature of it, as well as this feature here, but it's clearly related. Also, there's like a boundary, this region where it's more smooth, but then right over here there's like a lot of erosion or chipped parts where the current's flowing out and pressing into a more smooth part and just kind of removing the material because it wasn't fully formed yet. It was still solidifying and more able to be like chipped away, you know, but solid enough to be chipped away and not just like pushed aside and have a current path etched through the material while it remains more smooth, but with things like this. Still upside down, some chakra type things going on here. Like here's a chakra. We stepped chakra, like step, 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 step chakra. Step back down, and then this side not so much. And then opposite this chakra, another one, step up, and then kind of like a negative, a small terminal, and a positive, large terminal opposite to one another that are then interacting in a way where the current looks to have like gone this way and this way to create like a lobe over here, but it's large enough, incomplete enough to like maybe show the process's steps in a subtle way where like the current just kind of pushes in here and pushes out the material here, like erodes this segment here, erodes definitely in here, but then also around it, and then reaches over into this region where it then erodes here, erodes over here, maybe is forced to go up this way because the current's going this way and this way, so maybe there's like an intermediary region where it's able to flow up there more easily because it's protected by the flows, so it flows up there but then back down and then around, something of that nature. Maybe this side it kind of runs into a wall, very flat, almost like this side is how the like if we go to the one that I already talked about, this one, the physics of a shaligram, like the flat face here, like it's hitting a flat face and creating a flat face, and then on this side it's just eroded away the actual material. But this, doing this where it's hitting a flat face, this would become like this in the right conditions, but instead we see it more as just a flat face. And then over here is more like over here where it's just gone, eroded away to be an open channel to the flat face. So it's almost like it's doing that here where it's eroding away the negative side, like this side, this side is behaving like this side, or vice versa. Where over here, this side is behaving like the flat face that is just starting out like as a flat face in this kind of manner. Seemingly like inducing current down this way and being involved in what's going on over here then. Possibly having some currents like go through and cause these like subtleties in the rock over here that maybe we can see in another angle a little better. Trying to, where are we looking? Is that, trying to find this feature in this flat face to kind of direct us. Maybe the flat face is over there. It's doing it again, whatever's going on here. I don't know if it's the same location where it's got like a chakra or like a lobe feature out this way. With a top half and a bottom half that's then creating like a chakra here kind of thing. And a nucleus. Where this one doesn't really have a nucleus like this. But it's just subtle. It hasn't been eroded really whatsoever to change the matrix into a pristine ammonite. So the process is just begun, even though it isn't just begun, but going above and below. Interacting over here, which is probably why it wasn't forming so complete, because of all the interactions and nuances of this, the process on the surface of this shaligram. Let's see what other angles we got. That's it, I guess. This is from Rujak's Guru, so that's probably all the images then. Oh, there's no way I left behind an image. No image left behind. Not no more. I learned my mistakes. Learn from my mistakes. I just take them all. Well, take, like, snip it. I snip them all. This also kind of looks like a chakra there, even. And like a ammonite could have formed it within this chakra. I'd really like to know, maybe if we look more at this, like where that is over here, because it's got to be connected. I can't tell. This looks like it's the opening, I guess. I guess that's the opening. I guess that's the opening down there. It's hard to say, too. We might not have all the angles of this one. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Like, that's cool. But can't really say further. Inconclusive in terms of other details. Okay, another one from Rujak's Guru. Let's just go through these real quick. A, B, C, D, E, F, A, back to A. So we got F, I believe it was. So we got some currents flowing through, etching the Shaligrams stone. Some reason there's an opening there forming, possibly relating to a cross current. Maybe if we go like this pole, like if we go to this image, it's wrapping around a terminal of the rock kind of thing, like a current wrapping around here and creating a pseudo ammonite structure. Again, just subtly, it's just creating the wrapping around the chakra. Like a chakra could form here, but it didn't, because circumstances just didn't form a chakra, but it was doing the same process where it etched like a boundary to it and even like a spiral structure that has layers outward. And then I was thinking maybe it connects. Like if there's a chakra here, there's probably a current, like cross currents, and maybe one of them went generally this way and interacted with another current going instead of at the like protruding nubs over here. Instead of there, it went between them in this like indented segment that it formed like a channel pretty much. Went down through here, this across this general width, but then it interacted across here and made these structures more pronounced, maybe, as well as kind of shoving like an offshoot of this current this way. Let's see what else we got. I believe this is the other side, like the back side. So this might be the back side of this. Let's see, we see this angled structure, that might be that. Although, do we see it? Oh yeah, that here. This down here is this. So this is the back side, this is the front side where the features were. So there's a little chakra there, some lobes of an ammonite type forming there. Structure forming there. Some other stuff. Little opening there. Little horseshoe looking lobe type structure there. It's generally like in line with this one and maybe in line with that. Maybe wraps around and is in line with other stuff, I don't know. And then this looks to be the face where it's wrapping around like that, and then this here is the one that branches off here. This, so we're looking generally at the top face here. This branch off is what's going on here, I guess. So this one looks like it's in line with this. So it's probably actually related. Like there's this eddy here that's continuing out all the way over here and wrapping around, but then it starts to become really complex. Like it's not stable. This is more stable, so it's more of an actual like spiral looking etching, where over here it starts to branch off, I guess, and at the tail end of the spiral over here as it reaches this mass. Like it has this generally continuous face here, but then it bends, or flat face here from like a current wrapping around this, and then it bends, which then a current wrapping around this also runs into that and is caused to like change its direction, so it's not as stable. So maybe that's part of what's going on here too. And then it maybe like makes its way, even like it wraps around, and then wraps around like this far point. So it gets around over here and influences the stone again in these shapes. Where there's probably another current, like it looks like we can see some more that way. Also, it looks like there's some current paths going that way. Might be some parallel lines here too, beyond this one, like in this region of the stone. Other stuff, okay. It's from Rujak Guru. We got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. We got H. So let's start here. Chakra, chakra. Just kind of point out the systems. We got system here, system here, system here, chakra. Another chakra here with lobe that way, lobe this way. Chakra there. Possibly a chakra there. Possibly chakra, lobe there. Something else going on over there. Maybe something more pseudo chakra, like a lobe, chakra, lobe kind of thing forming there, but didn't form so cohesively again. And this one continues over here. And maybe if it bends, like if we continue the bend, although it looks like it kind of straightens. But if we kind of bend it, it more so goes towards the boundary here. Suggesting a relationship, I guess. As well as this one seems to extend right up into here where this Ammonite is. So this is two overlapping Ammonites that don't actually make sense. As well as this one, this overall has like a boundary that extends over here to where this pseudo-ammonite structure is forming. Again, I've seen enough of these where I can say this is a pseudo-ammonite structure forming. It's not just like some random features that are unrelated to what's going on here. It's attempting to form two chakras. Like this shape happens a lot in ammonites, and sometimes it's more like cohesively looks like this, to a point where like it bridges things of this nature to actually be recognizably some subset of things of this nature rather than being just kind of there. But the point is, this thing, it abruptly ends at this one, as well as takes this shape, almost like it's got like a mound around this forming that extends over here, and then has like a tail end of an ammonite shell type feature. Like it's like a shell, like the, again, like this, like, but like this. So imagine here we're looking down at this and seeing like this, and then we see this segment here like this, but then we see this mass here. We can really see the flat face, which is a good indicator that that's going on here, as well as just this boundary, like that combo, and the protruding aspect of it points to this kind of having like an actual feature of an ammonite that's being formed in the rock but didn't form completely, but it has the features there, which also looks like it connects down possibly right at the top of this lobe, like at the top. There's a connection there over that way, out and over in this white looking segment there. And then it doesn't stop there. These continue over that way. Some ribs there, ammonite there. So this is kind of what I'm saying. Like one of these, like this is more clear that it has the outer etching around it. So like this segment, it doesn't have the flat face, but it has enough features to like relate it to what was going on over here with this segment. Same thing here, just different chakra, some stuff, cool stuff going on over there. Possibly a chakra in there, actually. Hard to say. At this angle, there's probably a better angle. So this is upside down, where that's the one that looks like the other one. This is the first one we kind of looked at. This also looks like it almost connects in a weird way. It's connecting over to this whatever's going on here. Possibly forming chakras, like a chakra up here and a chakra down here across in a way where it's like two systems interacting, producing more of, again, like this kind of structure. And I watched 1 Hour, One Shaligram is called. I rewatched it like 2 days ago. Highly recommend that one. I don't know if I can find the Shaligram quickly. YouTube, let me find it because it relates enough. 1 Hour, One Shaligram. This one, and then this one, this video. Bunch of chakras in here, just a bunch of them. But what I am particularly looking for is right here. Right there. Chakra. And then there's a chakra there. Right there is a chakra. Right there is a chakra. And yet, this kind of similar shape. So if we go back here to this one, the way this is reminiscent of this shape here, and then over here as well. So these two seem to be forming a chakra system across them that are connecting the two. But before that happens, there's a chakra here, there's a chakra here. So it's basically suggesting that a feature like this, where there's a chakra, a lobe, and then another chakra that's in this instance gone, and this one here, but where there's a chakra, lobe has within it a chakra and another chakra at some point in the process, at least possible to happen. So I would suggest that's possibly going on here, from what I can see of it. This is so that's those features I was just pointing out over there. So this, I guess, is to the right. We get a better angle of this and see this spirals, like the ribs going out of this seem to continue all the way over here to the point where they literally connect with this system, which doesn't really make sense for shells to do. Then we got some chakras in there, but we got another chakra there. We can see the chakra now. And it's attempting to form a lobe out this way into this system practically. But this system is perhaps etching over here, like going like the one that was coming out of at different points, and then creating, like, widening it. So maybe here it came out at this point generally and widened, but then it interacted enough to like spiral and create a chakra system that's actually connected to this one from within. I don't know. It's hard to say without like having it and having this Shaligram and some way to really look into the innards of it. Whoa. So this is the first one, and then the dual chakra and then system there that I was suggesting maybe has a chakra as well between them. And then that one, this one here, it's this one, and this one. But then over here is blurry. Now we see it here pretty clearly, where it's got an Ammonite structure here, but then right here's clearly another chakra. Whatever's going on there looks kind of like an Ammonite too. Whoa. Looks like there's generally like a current path from this chakra generally across this way. That then maybe this overall was forming a chakra with another lobe here, but it just formed like two Ammonite structures, as well as even another one that like connected the three systems. Probably because of this larger, like it had a little cavity in the rock. It's the rock's shape itself that allowed for this, I guess, because this is quite anomalous. As well as there's a little path down that way, like a drainage point, like an excess drainage point, because current's flowing like around here, getting trapped in this crevice and like exiting that way, I guess. Hard to say without a better picture of this. I don't think there is. There's another Ammonite in the stone along this flat face, right to the very boundary of the flat face. As soon as the rock bends, the current has to, like, when it tries to run into the rock, it runs along the surface so it doesn't etch over here as soon as the flat face ends. Also, it looks like it has a little offshoot out of the tip there, interacting that way. Which maybe was, I guess that was over there. Yeah. So that chakra, I guess, is this chakra. Maybe? Not completely sure. Also, there's all these specks, which are really prevalent in the top, not so much along this side or this side. Some down here. Still don't know what exactly to make of the specks. I've come across that kind of thing happening in other Shaligrams. It's not universal. It almost seems like emissions from these systems that just like emit like a electron, excited electron emitting a photon kind of thing. Still the same Shaligram. So we can see chakra there, right there. There's a chakra. And yet there's a lobe. Like in the same way there's a lobe this way and around this Ammonite structure, there's another lobe going downward. Another chakra here, another chakra there, up there. So it seems like this system is interacting with this enough that it offshoots another lobe and possibly a chakra there even. A subtle one, there's another chakra. Again, this is in a relatively flat face where it generally like bends a bit there. And so that's the... Oh, we can see a chakra there. And a more clearly wrapping around structure. So when I go all the way back, I guess to this here, this one, this is the one with the flat face, and then the bend, and then this thing that then looks like there's chakras there. This one actually has like a chakra here, chakra here. This one also has a chakra there, kind of again like this. Which fossils can't do these things. There clearly is a chakra there. Okay, another opening. I guess this opening is that opening there, and that one there. those two were those last two in the image here. I think we got, this might be the last one, and then this itself looks kind of like a chakra. Like the high point, bend down and goes sideways, bend down sideways. Almost like on top of this was generally an eddy. Interestingly, I guess here, generally an eddy, because that's probably the chakra looking thing there in that last picture, with this face being this. Oh, we're at an hour, 5 minutes already. Oh. These were some cool Shaligrams. Hopefully the music's not too loud, but audible. I wanted it to be audible, but not overbearing. Like, here's two chakras. Here's two chakras. They're really close. Like, look how close they are. Would these shells be reasonably this close? They'd have to be broken, first of all. Which, I mean, okay. But then why are there teeth down this way? Literally off the tip of this one. And this is weirdly shaped. Teeth down this way that then go over that way. Teeth down here. A lobe-looking structure etching here. Chakra here. Big ol' chakra there. With the mass, like flat face here, I guess, mass, that then has current etching around here, and then seemingly producing some anomalies. I'm not sure. Like, this looks kind of like a lobe, like one of these kinds of things, like attempting to happen. For some reason, that maybe relates to over here, due to the just shape of the rock and, again, the circumstances. Teeth, okay. Just slightly turned. So we can see again those teeth. Be curious to see what's going on there a little better even. Wow. It almost looks like it's like bending in to be like here. Like they connect like that. And it like drapes down like a Picasso painting looking thing to be actually, even though the chakra's here, this side is lower than this side because it's wrapping around this way. Then something here, another lobe trying to form some straight lines there for some reason. We also possibly some teeth. We also can see, as I don't finish sentences, or as I should say, I don't senses good, or something. That was really funny, okay? It was one of the best jokes I've ever made. Thank you. Thank you for everyone who tolerates my terrible sense of humor. It's not funny. Could you just stop? Okay, dude. Okay, dude. We get it. So cool the way that comes like a little point, and then this is not eroded. Like it's basically this material here, not eroded, but it's eroded all the way up to it into this little sharp point. That's so cool. This here looks like a lobe that then has another like tier down here. Another maybe to like a chakra down over there. Relatively, like it's trying to again, like it's not cohesive. It's unstable, if you will. Where this is more stable, that it actually does this. Some paths there, some stuff there. Okay, hard to say what exactly to make of it. These ribs, which would be part of an ammonite, like if we found these, and this was if this was truly caused by fossils, these would be part of an ammonite, and yet like they clearly go over here, and then right within it are also those in this segment. So like current was going below and above this segment, which at some point would have probably been removed, like this window here, but it's not gone because it's still in there. It didn't get dislodged by the process. Subtle little chakra-like things forming here because that's how it goes. And they're just not so distinct as to really be like, that's an ammonite. Some other features that are more they're just on the less eroded bottom face of the rock, probably. This one is from Rujok's Guru, who does not in my... Okay. Chakra looking thing over here. Looks almost like a seashell from this angle. Very cool. So definitely there was current wrapping around this. Around this nub. Anyone studying nubs and wondering why they're in ancient megaliths definitely needs to understand Shaligrams. I don't know why exactly they put them in ancient megaliths, but they probably were directing current flows. Probably ethereal currents in this manner, where like the current, it's not like the current was just swirling here, like completely. Like there's a nub. The physical shape of this rock directs the current too, and it swirled around it and created, probably like more so, and made it a nub. But like, it's not every Shaligram has a nub like this, but this one does. Also, there's some teeth right there, just randomly in the matrix of this ammonite. Probably some nuances over here, this mass out here. Chakras there, they look like they're at that angle. It's almost like if we go like this, if we go left to right exactly horizontally, it just kind of goes to here. But if we go, like, look at this, and then go horizontal relative to this, if this is vertical, and then we go horizontal relative to those, I'm guessing that it more so points at the tip here. Like if we go like this, like that tip, the center, and there probably align. It's hard to do without pulling up Photoshop and putting a line. Like, obviously, on my mouse, I can be like, "Oh, look at this line! Wow, what a straight line across." So maybe that's all been Photoshop. Fuck it, let's fucking go. Sorry, computer. Kind of curious. You can see some lines there. This thing, almost like a positive negative nub. Some teeth back this way, like going back there, off of it, kind of like this side, but up that way. Erosion down, but then that way. And then this way, it looks like on this part. Cross across. It's probably not what I said. Now that I'm pulling it up, it's not gonna be. It's not gonna actually fit. I'm like, oh. Oh, well, fine then. It's still cool though, right? It's still cool though, right? Okay, draw a line. We're gonna draw a line from this tip to here. So let's start at this tip because maybe there. Oh, that's not a line. Line from there to there. It doesn't really look like if I draw another line, let's say this way. I don't think that's definitely not the angle of the chakras, but maybe there. Maybe that's not either. That's a little better. This bottom one's hard to say. The top one looks more like it's straight down, honestly. But then the bottom one looks almost like it bends off. Like maybe if we start there, let's start at that point. And go through the chakras. Enter 112 degrees, or 114 degrees. 6 degrees. So it's over 90 degrees there. Or under. Over 90 degree angle. 6 degrees. 113, so it's 107 degrees. 113.82. Or 6.64, so 106 degrees, let's say. Let's see, what's 90? If I go like this. That kind of looks like a 90 degree angle. That's like 81. Let's say minus 83 points to 8 or whatever. That's a 90 degree angle, so that does not go through this chakra and the tip of that chakra. Okay. I don't know that it would necessarily have to be like so geometrically perfect anyway, but also that might be a poor choice of location, but whatever, let's move on. Now that I did that failure attempt to check something out, let's move on. How can you just move on? Dude, calm down. I'm just like thinking of naysaying. Aha! This little protrusion there. This little thing. Like, we can definitely see lines there, like, suggestive of a current, as well as there. Like, it got caught underneath it and etched a little bit there. And there. Same one. Also here, this has a spiral seemingly going around it that maybe interacts over there. Another nub there. It really seems related, like there was a channel from this spiral down this way, generally down this way, or vice versa. Probably this way because of this, where this side is more flat, and maybe even into the rock here. to then like spray out kind of thing, contributing to this side. I don't know. Okay, I should probably do this one last. This is the last one. So we got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I. Okay, last one. I'm like, do I want to do this one? It looks pretty detailed. It looks pretty detailed. Like, maybe there's a chakra there. Maybe there's some, like, this overall looks like 2 lobes. Lobe, some sort of nucleus chakra thing going on. That's just whatever the shape is, though. This looks sort of like it's got a little mound in this segment here. But then they're connected, like, through chakras again in a weird way. Chakra there for sure. One of those boreholes there. Another chakra there, maybe. Chakras there. Chakra there. Possibly a chakra there. Chakra there. Like this chakra is like one lobe, and this is another lobe over here kind of thing with a chakra. So maybe it can do that where it forms like a system with a chakra there, and then it starts to erode and form another lobe, but then like a new chakra at the boundary forms, basically. Like it even looks like it's got a little nucleus. Where then as this takes shape, this chakra is removed and reshaped, resurfaced basically, so it's like it wasn't there kind of thing, which is maybe what happened to the bottom one even as this process happened. But then in the meantime, while this was happening, it was forming a bit of a chakra here, maybe even because this chakra is blocking some of the flow that's like coming out here, coming out of this region, wrapping around and hitting over here. Possibly is what's happening there relatively, where it kind of shields a bit from being hit so much here to create another chakra temporarily, at least. And then they join, and this becomes a new chakra once they really get etched enough. I'm pretty sure that's like a thing that happens in Shaligrams. Some kind of chakra there. Whatever's going on here is pretty anomalous. We can see some kind of ribs, extending patterns out, but then something going on there that's a little odd, I guess. Teeth-like structures in these paths. Some little gaps too, like chakra that are connecting, forming like a channel. Okay, some chakras in there, but it doesn't etch over here. Some teeth structures here, or chakras. Like these kind of look like chakras forming. This also kind of looks like a chakra itself and another chakra. So maybe that can happen where it like has teeth. Maybe it's good I have Photoshop open, because then I can just kind of go like this. New. This. Okay, go like this. add a layer. Do like this. So it kind of does like teeth, let's say. Oh, it would help if this was connected. Okay. Okay, there we go. Like teeth. Like tooth, 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 tooth. That then over time creates these like things like this. Like a channel. But then it widens it so like the teeth get bigger, some of them, like not evenly though, like this. Widens them, like zooming in on these three. Just ignore this one, I guess. Or even keep it kind of there, like small though. And then this one, like space opens more. And then widens. Or maybe it even like erodes into it like this. Like bridges between them and like this is gone. And vice versa, like there's another one over there that maybe gets eroded into, which then at that point we basically have the beginning of like a channel with a lobe with what then is like a chakra, and then a chakra that then gets shaped and I won't attempt to draw it, but into like truly a chakra, I guess, like something more like that. With the spiral things coming off it. And vice versa, I guess I am going to attempt to draw it. And sometimes, like that one can have a nucleus, but not always. So in these cases, it probably wouldn't have a nucleus. It would just be more empty of the... Oops. Whatever. And then we've got ourselves some chakras that like starts out as a crack, but also from the three-dimensional standpoint, like it's going into the rock like a certain distance, and then in further, and then in further, as well as starting to connect behind this, behind the chakra, to make this really be like a chakra. And possibly these lines are not even there, like it's more like the ones at the outer edge that are physically like on the edge of the matrix. In the right conditions, like that probably can happen with this stuff behind it though, like on the backside. So if this is the inside looking out, then there's this stuff, but inside, let's say inside. And then in terms of this whole thing, so let's say like this, inside. Inside. And then the outside is smooth. Whatever. etc. I just kind of got lazy here. I guess I shouldn't have. Smooth on the outside. Highly likely that things like that can happen. Highly likely. From something like this, where it's forming like a lobe. A lobe here is forming out of these like teeth patterns that are basically like one of these initially, like in the process, starting out like this, but then creating more teeth like things like it's kind of visible here in it, which then lead to something more like this, but like then leads to this. Okay, that's D. We got H or something to go through, so let's just keep going. Some other feature over here that's kind of like, whoa. It's connected seemingly to this, like right, boop, connected. Some kind of current running, like a current here that another current's running into and bending in the resistance, maybe. This is also maybe why this is going on over here. Some kind of current interaction, but some sort of spiraling there that's creating these things. Another etched path. Another chakras there. So we can see a chakra there. This looks like a lobe. Like to another ammonite structure. It's not so much this one, although it also looks like it's like the spiral of this going out and around. But because it's at this like bend, like this is almost like a 90-degree angle from this face to this face, it seems. Maybe not 90, but like a sharp angle. And it, because of that, it almost looks like it leads to this being like a secondary looking system where it's like a lobe itself rather than just like the spiral itself. Very strange. Some teeth down there. Wonder if we can see that differently. I guess that's it there. From this angle it looks crazy. From that angle, it looks like the lobe out this way and out this way has another lobe this way that just kind of extends a little too far. Like this is really low. Like that's normal. This is normal, but then this is not normal. So it's again almost like it's reaching the boundary of the rock and just slipping over here when it would like to go back this way. And maybe it does in part here, like around that subtle path there. But because the shape of the rock is as it is, it goes over the edge here and creates almost like an offshoot of it. Like it's also trying to spiral this way instead of like into the rock this way almost. Like it's doing this, but then it slides off this way and tries to create more of, like it's in one plane and then it creates another ammonite in another plane atop it though, in the same location practically, out of the same paths in a way where it looks really different. Crazy. Some dendrite stuff going on down there in this one. So that's what's going on there. I don't know why exactly. It looks a little out of place, really, generally speaking. Definitely some Shaligram features in there, and like maybe dendritic chakras there. So this is a good example. Like this looks a lot more like it's just an Ammonite, but it's still not so formed as to be like clearly such a thing. It looks more like one though. Essentially it's a good bridge between something like this that no one who interprets Shaligrams to contain Ammonite fossils, or for Ammonites in general to be fossils, would look at this and say, this is an Ammonite fossil that induced this. I don't know what their interpretation of these things are. It's just a cool erosional feature that circumstances happen to produce by being in the river. I don't know what the hell they explain it with. They just don't, pretty much. Scientifically, certainly not. These are not really studied scientifically to this degree, where like these types of details are like obliged to be explained. They're just like, they're Ammonites. The end. Whatever, dudes. But this one wouldn't really be called an Ammonite, but it clearly is similar in shape to a point where it looks like this. This one would be said to be an Ammonite because we can see the little steps. Like some kind of Ammonite that didn't fossilize well or whatever excuse, when really it was just not eroded enough. Like a pristine Ammonite exists because erosion was sufficient and like long-term stable enough in the position to produce that feature, that structure. But one of these, it just didn't have the capacity to produce a pristine structure, but it did have the capacity to produce this structure, rather than the fossil just didn't fossilize kind of thing. Whatever reasoning scientists would use to explain why this is not so defined. Some other cool features. I think this is the last one of this one. Can't really tell what's going on there. It looks like maybe some chakras there, but we can't really tell. Can't really tell very well. I think we're good here. It's an hour 40, and the next one is 778. So we still got like 40 to go. I found a bunch. We got lots to go. I haven't really been looking at the Earth too much. I've been tired, honestly. Exhausted. What am I doing? What am I gonna do? Thinking about writing technical papers, maybe on Shaligrams even. And I'm just like, that's so much effort just to be ignored by people. Like, oh my god. To reach like a standard of writing and then just be ignored. I don't even want to deal with it. Because like, if I try to say, oh, Shaligrams are pseudofossils, whoever looks at it, Ammonites are pseudofossils. Where do I publish that? With someone who believes Ammonite, like really strongly, firmly is of a mind that Ammonites existed as living creatures when they did not. And they formed in the global flood and were etched and shaped by the flood. They're not gonna see what I'm putting down, although Shaligrams really have strong evidence. even so, they won't appreciate it. That's my thoughts. So why even bother? I mean, I could write, but write a technical paper to try to submit to a journal, like, that seems silly, honestly, in this world. Maybe in another world that people listen, but not in this one. Okay, guys. Without further ado, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching, listening, hanging out, all those things. Hope this was informative. I think so. There were some epic Shaligrams in this one. Sometimes I'm like, oh damn, I should have started with some cool ones, because the first 5 were like not that many like captivating details. This one was just boom, 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 boom. The first one might have been the worst of them all. No offense, I don't want to hate on Shaligrams at all. In terms of like captivating people to realizing they're not fossils, though, that one was probably not the most optimal starting point. I was thinking about even like changing my strategy. Like, is this one here? Let me glance at it. This one looks pretty good. I can start on that one. It's basically making sure the next one I start on is like a solid one to start the episodes on when I talk about Shaligrams, because otherwise people won't watch as far. Like, I don't know. Unless they realize that it's worth watching, then they will. But like, if someone just stumbles on my videos and they see me saying this is not a fossil, and then it's like less captivating than other ones, I can understand why they would be like, what is this shit, turn off next, downvote sometimes and leave. Like, peace out.